What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the college basketball slate on March 10th. It is March. It's finally here. This is the best time of the year. The best month of the year is always March. March Madness is awesome. And so I'm going to be here for you breaking down every single slate for the rest of the year pretty much. So you got all the conference tournaments. You're going to have March Madness, the NCAA tournament, every single slate the rest of the year. That's what I'm going to be here for. If you're new here, I've been tracking college basketball all year. I was doing videos earlier in the year, but had to take some time off from that. But now we're back for March because it's freaking March. That's what we're here for. So we live for at this point. If you want more of my content, if you want the spreadsheet along with projections, hit the link down below. It's gonna be $5 for the rest of the year. You're gonna get the spreadsheet and all the projections for every single slate for the rest of the year. So, March Madness projections. Go hit that link down below. Of course, be sure to leave a like here, subscribe to this channel if you're new. I will also be doing NBA content once March Madness is over. Been following that all year, just haven't been making videos as much for it. And then, of course, I do NASCAR content all year long as well. So be sure to stick around for all of that. Hit that like and that subscribe, turn on that notification bell. I'll probably be doing live before live streams for college basketball. Probably not today, but maybe later this week. I just want to see how many views this video gets, and definitely for March Madness, for the NCAA tournament. So yeah, that's really all I got to say on that. Let's get into the plays because I know that's what everybody wants to hear. We're going to start with the Duke versus Louisville game. This game has an implied total of 140. We'll skip over to Carolina, guys, that you see right there. We'll start the Duke versus Louisville game. The game has an implied total of 140. It's a pretty okay total on the day. It's above average total for the overall slate, so that's pretty solid to look at. When you go look at the pace, it's going to have a pace of 69.55. That's slightly below average, but Louisville is going to be going into a major pace up spot. So I really am going to like the Louisville side a lot more than the Duke side, where Duke is going into a pace down spot. I don't like that as much. The one guy I do like on Duke is going to be DJ Stewart. He is $6,400. I have him projected for 35 minutes today. He's a .8 fantasy point per minute player with a usage rate of 22.6 and assist rate of 13.9. He's just going to play a lot of minutes, and he's a good player. And he's been playing pretty well recently as well. So $6,400, I think DJ Stewart is going to be someone I'd like to target. And then honestly, man, on the Louisville side, I like everybody on this team a lot, but I really like Carlik Jones here. He's going to play a ton of minutes. I mean, I gave him 40 today. Him and David Johnson both. I mean, they're just been their two best players all year long. They're going to play monster minutes in this game. And they're going to have both high usage rate, high assist rate. And David Johnson's too cheap at $5,300. I don't understand his price tag. He's way too cheap in a pace-up spot game here. So I really like him and Carlik Jones a lot. They're both going to play a lot of minutes. Jones with a usage rate 26.5 and assist rate 25.7. And David Johnson with a usage rate 23.4 and assist rate 19.5. You can play both those two in any type of contest you want. Then also Samuel Williamson at $6,300. I gave him 38 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 19.2 and a rebound rate of 15.7. I think that's going to be a really good value there. DeAndre Davis is $4,200. I gave him 29 minutes. He's not the best point per minute player, but he does have usage rate 16.1, so he's fine if you want to get him in as a cheap value. And then Jalen Withers at $6,600, gave him 31 minutes today with a .89 point per minute, usage rate 19.6, and a rebound rate of 17.4. That's going to look pretty good. So I really like these Louisville guys here today. That's probably this team is going to be my main focus. Where I'm probably building most of my lines around is going to be around these Louisville players. So I'm going to really like this spot a lot. Next game we're going to talk about is Carolina versus Notre Dame. This game has an implied total of 150. I believe that's the highest total of the day. Yeah, that's the highest total on the slate at 150. So this is going to be a game I do like to attack for sure. Carolina has pretty heavy favorites here, though. It's going to be a slightly above average pace game at 71.05 pace game. Carolina will be going into a pace down spot. That's not the best spot to be in, but Notre Dame will be going into a pace up spot, so I'm going to really like that. On the Carolina side, there's going to be three guys I'm interested in here. It's going to be Leaky Black, Caleb Love, and Armando Bacot. Leaky Black, I gave 29 minutes today. He is a .69 fantasy point per minute player. Not the highest usage rate of 12.3, assist rate of 15.3, but he's only $4,900. He's going to play a lot of minutes in a high total game, so that's going to make me somewhat interested in him. Caleb Love's on the cover. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm too interested in him. I honestly just want to get a Carolina player on the cover before the season was over, and the season could be over today. So $6,100 for Caleb Love. I gave him 30 minutes. A .7 point per minute guy. He has a usage rate of 25.7 and an assist rate of 24. That's going to look pretty good. So Caleb Love at $6,100 looks like a solid tournament play. Armando Bacot at $7,100 is the same thing. His minutes can be kind of capped here. I gave him 26 today, but he is a 1.07 point per minute player with usage rate of 21.9 and a rebound rate of 18.2. Those are the type of players I like to have in tournaments. He has a lot of upside, but his floor may not be as high as some others. Then on the Notre Dame side, Notre Dame is coming off a game yesterday. They beat Wake Forest on a buzzer beater. What an awesome game that I did not watch, so that's great. But that's cool. It was a pretty cool shot to see that I've seen about a million times since last night. Um, Prentice Hub is $7,900. Gave him 39 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 25.5 and an assist rate of 31.5. He's been our best player all year. I expect him to have a good game here. In a big spot, big game here for Notre Dame. So I like Prentice Hub a good bit. He's definitely someone I want to get into a lot of tournaments. Probably don't want to go there for cash. I'd probably rather just pay 200 less for Carl Jones, to be honest. But Prentice Hub is still a good play. Jawan Durham is $6,900. I gave him 32 minutes. He's a .99 point per minute producer of a usage rate 21.4. He's just going to play a good amount of minutes. I think he looks like a good play. And then Nicola DeJago, and I don't really know how you say his last name. We'll go with that. He played 33 minutes yesterday. Now, I mean, he's been, recently he's been seeing an uptick in minutes, like getting into the more to 20s, but 33 was the most I've seen, I think, all year. So at $3,400, I don't know if he's going to play that many minutes again, but he can get you to like 27 minutes today for sure. I think that's a safe projection, to be honest. But 33, if he gets that, he's going to be an absolute smash play. And he's only $3,400. Maybe not the best fantasy point per minute guy or even rate guy. 12.2 usage rate isn't great, but I mean, you need value, and at $3,400, that is giving you value playing those minutes. So I do like Nicola DeJago a good bit. Next game we're going to target is the Stanford California game, and I'm only going to be interested in players from the Stanford side. This game has an implied total of 132. It's going to be a really low total game, so I don't really like to target that. And Stanford's going to be going into a pace down spot, but Zaire Williams and Michael O'Connell are just a little bit too cheap. So Oscar Da Silva is also questionable, and I should note that. If he doesn't play tonight, that is going to be really good for Luka Karuska. I don't remember how to say his last name, but that's who it is. I'll write it down in the description below his name. But that's who that's going to benefit the most there. But Zaire Williams has kind of been injured, not really been playing, but he got back into the starting lineup last week, and I think that'll probably continue tonight. And at $4,400, it's going to make him a really good value. And I don't know if you know who Zaire Williams is, but he's like a top college prospect or top NBA prospect for this draft. Like, he's going to be a top 10 pick most likely. So at $4,400, it's going to make him interesting to me. I gave him 29 minutes today. He's a .77 point per minute player, usage rate 26.1, and an assist rate of 16.3. So at $4,400, it's going to be way too cheap. And then I think the same thing about Michael O'Connell. I gave him 34 minutes today. He's only $4,700. He's a .6 point per minute guy, with a usage rate of 14.2 and an assist rate 19.8. These guys are pretty much just two value plays I like here. Don't really want to call them a core play. I mean, for value, I'd still rather go to Nicola DeJago, but you can probably stack the line by playing him and one of these two. This is not a game I want to target that much from the studs on this game because the total's so low. It's a slow paced game as well, so not going to be a game I'm really all that excited about. But these value plays do strike me as a little bit interesting. Next game we're going to talk about is the Utah versus Washington here. This game has an implied total of 144, so a pretty decent total. When you go get Washington, they're going into a massive pace down spot. I'm not going to be all that interested in the Washington side here, but I am going to like the Utah side going into a massive pace up spot. The one guy I would be a little bit interested in on Washington is going to be Hamir Wright. He's $4,900. I gave him 30 minutes. That's pretty much just going to be it. I mean, he's just going to play the minutes. Projects out a nice point per minute play, point per dollar play here. He has a usage rate of 16.8, which isn't the best in the world, but he's going to be out there, so that's why I like Hamir Wright a little bit. On the Utah side, I like these four guys a lot. Timmy Allen, Mikhail Jantunin, Alfonso Plummer, and Brandon Carlson. Timmy Allen's their best player, $8,200, give him 40 minutes. He's playing monster minutes. He has monster usage, monster assist rates. Love playing him today. He's in a pace-up spot, a fast-paced game, high total game as well, 29.4 usage rate, 24.3 assist rate. Love him here. Probably my favorite pay-up option, to be honest, on the entire slate. So I really do like Timmy Allen a good bit here. Mikhail Jantunin is $5,100. Gave him 29 minutes today. He's a .6 point per minute player with a usage rate of 14.4 and his assist rate 9.5 and rebound rate of 10.1. Kind of just does a little bit of everything, but still, for the most part, probably not going to be someone I'm too overly excited about, but he does look like someone I probably finish into some GPP lineups, so I'm playing a lot of lineups today. Alfonso Plummer is $5,400. Gave him 36 minutes. He's a .7 point per minute player with a usage rate of 25. That's a pretty high usage rate for only $5,400, so I think that's a little bit interesting. So Alfonso Plummer is definitely someone I'm pretty interested in here today. Brandon Carlson, $6,000, gave him 34 minutes. He's a .86 point per minute player with usage rate 20.5 and a rebound rate of 12.3. Feels a little bit too cheap for his rates, for his minutes, and the pace of this game. So Brandon Carlson's definitely someone I like. Next game we're going to talk about is going to be Penn State versus, they play Minnesota. Oh, no, they play Nebraska. Sorry, Minnesota Northwestern play. Penn State versus Nebraska. This game, we're going to have to, kind of, here's the Nebraska guys, here's the Penn State guys, just for reference for you guys. This game has an implied total of 146.5, one of the higher total games on the slate. When you go look at the pace, it's going to be a slight pace-up spot for Penn State and a slight pace-down spot for Nebraska, but nothing really too drastic to worry about. And I believe this is the fastest-paced game overall on the slate. This is going to be the fastest-paced game on the slate overall. So I'm going to really like these two teams a lot. I actually like Nebraska. I had never liked playing Nebraska players, but we're going to go with it today. Marion Jones is $6,800. I gave him 36 minutes. He is a 0.8 point per minute player with a usage rate of 25.7 and an assist rate of 13.5. That's just way too cheap for those rates and those minutes that he's going to play in this fast-paced game. So I do like Marion Jones a lot today. Then Steph Lundy and Sam Sessoms look decent as well. Sam Sessoms, I don't know as much. Honestly, I think that was a mistake by putting him. I think I accidentally clicked him. I'm not really interested in Sam Sessoms, so never mind. Don't worry about him. But Steph Lundy is $4,500. I gave him 29 minutes. He's a 0.7 point per minute player. Usage rate 23.5. At $4,500, is going to present some pretty solid value here. Still not going to be no Nikola DeJago value, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be really popular today. So if we want to go to some other values, so Stanford guys, Steph Lundy is another one that I like. Next up, we got. Oh wait, I got to talk about the Nebraska side first. There's going to be some other interesting value plays here. We got Kobe Webster. He's $4,700. Gave him 34 minutes. Derek Walker's $4,600. Gave him 30 minutes. And then my guy Thorben. I'm not even going to try. We're going to call him Thor because that's just a dope name. I gave him 34 minutes. Now, him and Kobe Webster aren't going to be the most productive players in the world, but they're going to present us with some value as well. I think I'd still prefer the Penn State value. Like, I prefer Steph Lundy to all three of these guys, to be honest, but I do think they're fine options to go to if you want to get there. Next up game we're going to talk about is the Minnesota versus Northwestern game. This game has an implied total of 141.5. It's an okay total on the slate. It's going to be a pretty fast-paced game, though, the second fastest-paced game of the day. We have Minnesota going into a pace-down spot and Northwestern going into a pace-up spot. And there are some injuries we have to address on Minnesota. Liam Robbins is questionable, and Brandon Johnson is questionable. If those guys were to miss, I would just expect, honestly, more usage from Ashburn and Marcus Carr. To be honest, there's going to be some guys that are going to get into the lineup, but they've been kind of priced up because some of those guys have been out for a little bit. And they're also really bad fantasy producers, so I'm really not too interested in those guys. Marcus Carr is too expensive as well, so Jamal Bashburn is really going to be the only guy I'm interested in here on Minnesota. He's $4,800. I gave him 31 minutes today. He's only a 0.5 point per minute player, but he does have a usage rate of 21.7 and an assist rate of 14.9, so that's not too bad. So I think he's a nice little sneaky play here to get some exposure to maybe today. I do think that's interesting. So Miller Kopp and Robbie Baran are going to be the two guys I'm interested in on Northwestern. $4,400 for Kopp and $3,900 for Baran. Like, he's another below 4K player you can get to, but I still prefer DeJago by a long shot here. So I think, if you want to get Robbie Baran, I think that's fine, but I still would much rather prefer DeJago. But I do like Miller Kopp a lot. $4,400, I gave him 33 minutes here, a 0.5 point per minute player with a usage rate of 19.7. Looks like a really good value, so I'm going to really be interested here in Miller Kopp a good bit. Next game we're going to talk about is going to be Oklahoma versus Iowa State. And before I say that, there's two Big 12 tournament games today. The other one's Kansas State and TCU, and it's got like a ridiculously low total. I'm not interested in that game at all. I'm not going to talk about any players from that game. I'm just fading that game completely on the slate. I think all those guys are awful plays. So, but if you're saying, where's that game by the end of this video? That's where it is. I just want to talk about that when I came to the Big 12. So we're on Oklahoma versus Iowa State here. This game has an implied total of 141.5. Oklahoma pretty big favorites here, of course, because Iowa State's like the worst Power 5 school in the country this year. They have 2 wins. Absolutely brutal season for them. It'd be a nice end of the season if they beat Oklahoma, though. That would be fun. Also, I think Oklahoma's a pretty overrated team, to be honest, but I don't think they'll lose to Iowa State today. On this game, the pace is going to be a 71.9 pace game. Decently paced game. Above average game. It's going to be a slight pace down spot for Oklahoma and a slight pace up spot for Iowa State, but nothing really too big of a deal here. Alondes Williams, I gave 29 minutes. He is a 0.77 point per minute player with a usage rate of 19.3 and an assist rate of 14.7. And he's only $4,300, going to play a lot of minutes, so I think that's someone that I'm definitely interested in. And Elijah Harkless is $5,700, gave him 36 minutes. He's a 0.76 point per minute player with a usage rate of 18.2 and an assist rate of 14.6. That's going to look pretty decent at $5,700. And then on the Iowa State side, Tyler Harris and Trey Jackson are going to be two guys I'm interested in. Tyler Harris is $5,000. Gave him 31 minutes today. Only a 0.6 point per minute player if usage rate 20.2 though. And then Trey Jackson's $4,400. I gave him 36 minutes today. He's a 0.56 point per minute player of usage rate of 11.7. Not the best in the world, but he is going to play a lot of minutes at $4,400. Next game we're going to talk about is Xavier versus Butler. I'm really not interested in anybody from the Xavier side, but I am. We got to talk about some injuries on the Butler side, but first, the total is 133. That's probably why I'm not that interested in them. It's just a really low total game. It's going to be a pace-up spot, though, for Butler and a really big pace-down spot for Xavier. So on the Butler side, Bryce Enzi is questionable and Bo Hodges is questionable. Now, especially if Bryce Enzi misses, this is going to be a big usage bump to both Chuck Harris and Jair Bolden. Those are going to be the two guys I'm interested in. Jair Bolden's interesting on its own. I gave him 36 minutes today. He is only $5,100. So I'm going to be interested there. Usage rate 19.8. But Chuck Harris I'm only interested in if Bryce Enzi's out. Fortunately, that is the first game of the slate, so we will know before lock if Bryce Enzi is going to be out. If he is out, I do like Chuck Harris, $8,100. He's still expensive, but I think he's fine. I mean, he's got a usage rate 25.4 and assist rate 19.4, 39 minutes. So I think he's fine. Next game we're going to talk about is Providence versus DePaul. This game also has an implied total of 133. This is going to be a okay pace game at 71.6. It's going to be a pace down spot for DePaul, but a pace up spot for Providence. I didn't think I was going to like this game, but a lot of the guys are just underpriced, I think. So we do have an injury here as well. The point guard, Javon Liberty Freeman, or Freeman Liberty, whatever it is. I don't remember order of that of his last name, but that guy is questionable. I don't think he'll play. He's missed the last 5 games with a concussion. I just don't expect him. I think he's done for the year, and this is probably the year on this game, so I don't think he'll play today. Which is going to make Ray Salnave and Polycap really good values here. $4,800 and $5,500. Give him 33 and 32 minutes. Salnave's only a 0.69 point per minute player, but Polycap's a 1.01 point per minute player. They both have pretty similar usage rates, and then Polycap has a usage rate of 14.8. So actually, Polycap isn't affected by the point guard. What am I talking about? The only one who's affected by him is Salnave. He's going to play more minutes because of that. But Polycap in and on its own looks like a pretty solid play. I just think it's a little bit too cheap. On the Providence side, we have Nate Watson, AJ Reeves, and Noah Horchler. Nate Watson's $7,200. Gave him 37 minutes here. He's a 1.03 point per minute player. Usage rate 23.9 and a rebound rate of 11.7. That's just too cheap, I think, for his role on this team. And then AJ Reeves is $5,100. Gave him 33 minutes. Usage rate of 18.1. Noah Horchler's $5,500. 32 minutes, 0.97 point per minute player. Usage rate is 17.4 and a rebound rate of 15.4. I think they're both just a little bit too cheap for their role, so I like their price a little bit, but wouldn't call them core plays, just kind of some tournament plays. And then the last game we're going to talk about is Texas A&M versus Vanderbilt. I'm interested in one player from this game, and that is going to be Savion Flagg on Texas A&M. This game only has a total of 132. It's going to be, I believe, a slight pace, or it's going to be a pretty big pace-up spot here for Texas A&M, but overall it's going to be a slow-paced game. I gave Savion Flagg 36 minutes. He's $6,100. He's a 0.7 point per minute player. Usage rate 20 and assist rate 20.5. Just grades out as a nice value. But yeah, that's really all I got to say on this. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll put the link down below. If you want to ask me any questions about today, I'll be willing to answer them. I'm literally, after I'm done with this and then a few other things for NASCAR, I'm going to be watching college basketball all day. So if you guys have any questions for me, be sure to hit my Twitter, hit the link down below if you want my projections. But yeah, that's really all I got to say. Have a great rest of your day, and let's make some money.